The humidity in Shanghai had turned the court into a furnace, and even the best athletes in the world were struggling to breathe. But for Jannik Sinner, the conditions pushed his body to its absolute limit. What was supposed to be a routine round of 16 match against Talon Griekspoor turned into one of the most painful nights of his career. Midway through the third set, after losing the previous one, Sinner's legs simply stopped responding. The Italian tried to move, but every step became heavier, slower, and more desperate. When he finally lost his serve, he stumbled to the bench, using his racket as a cane just to keep himself upright. The image of the world number 2 collapsing from exhaustion and cramps spread like wildfire across the tennis world. No one could believe it, not after what Sinner had already endured this season. The man who played one of the longest Roland Garros finals in history, who outlasted Carlos Alcaraz in 5 grueling sets under the Paris sun, was now unable to finish a match in China. But the truth was simple. The humidity and heat were brutal, and the human body has limits, even Sinner's. After several days of rest and medical testing, the Italian has now made a major decision. He will bring a new physiotherapist into his team. The goal is clear: to prevent another Shanghai-like breakdown and to maximize his physical durability heading into the decisive final stretch of the season. The man chosen for the job is Alejandro Resnikov, an Argentine physiotherapist with over 15 years of experience on the ATP Tour. He's known for his work with several top 20 players and his precise, science-based recovery programs. For Sinner, this is not a minor change. It's a strategic shift, a move toward longevity and resilience. Sources close to the Italian's camp confirm that this decision wasn't impulsive. It's part of a broader plan to close the small but critical gap that separates him from his biggest rival, Carlos Alcaraz. The Spaniard's physical strength and recovery ability have often been the deciding factor in their duels. Sinner knows it, and so does his team. The next challenge for the Italian will be the Six Kings Slam in Riyadh, taking place from October 15th to 18th. His first match will come against Stefanos Tsitsipas, who entered the draw after Jack Draper's late withdrawal. Though officially labeled as an exhibition event, the Six Kings Slam is anything but casual. The tournament offers $13.5 million in total prize money, with each participant guaranteed $1.5 million just for showing up. The winner will walk away with a record-breaking $6 million, the largest single payday in the history of tennis exhibitions. Beyond the money, the event, streamed globally on Netflix, represents a major symbolic stage. If Sinner beats Tsitsipas, he'll face Novak Djokovic in the semifinals, while Alcaraz waits on the opposite side of the draw. That's the possible script tennis fans are already dreaming of: Djokovic versus Sinner on one side, Alcaraz versus Zverev or Fritz on the other, setting up yet another chapter in the generational battle for supremacy. But for Sinner, this is more than just redemption after Shanghai. It's a test of control, a chance to prove he can endure both physically and mentally after the shock of his recent retirement. His new team setup will play a critical role. Resnikov's arrival brings not only expertise in physical recovery but also new technology: cryotherapy, hydration management, and micro-recovery intervals between matches, all designed to counter the challenges of extreme climates like those in Asia and the Middle East. Meanwhile, the debate surrounding the ATP's handling of heat and humidity continues to grow. Players and analysts have criticized the governing body for lacking a clear heat rule, especially after multiple withdrawals in Shanghai due to dehydration and cramps. The images of Djokovic vomiting mid-match, Taylor Fritz collapsing, and Sinner limping off court have reignited the discussion on whether tennis needs a universal policy for extreme weather. For now, Sinner's focus is elsewhere. The 22-year-old Italian spent the last few days quietly recovering in Monte Carlo, undergoing full physiotherapy and gym sessions to stabilize his muscles and circulation. Reports indicate that his training will resume this week at 80% intensity before ramping up to full load ahead of the flight to Riyadh. The rivalry between Sinner and Alcaraz has defined the 2025 season. Their duels, marked by explosive shot-making and unmatched consistency, have pushed men's tennis into a new golden era. But with Alcaraz currently holding the edge, Sinner's new strategy aims to shift the balance again. He knows that the final phase of the year, Riyadh, Paris, Turin, Bologna, will determine not only the ranking but also the perception of who truly rules this new generation. One misstep could cost him the #1 dream. One perfect performance could immortalize him. As the countdown to the Six Kings Slam begins, the tennis world watches closely. The question isn't just whether Jannik Sinner is healthy again, it's whether he's stronger than before. Backhand index pointing right. If you love tennis analysis, rivalries, and behind-the-scenes stories, Don't forget to subscribe to World News Tennis. Every week, we bring you the most detailed updates on Alcaraz, Sinner, Djokovic, and the future of men's tennis. When Jannik Sinner collapsed on the court in Shanghai, many fans feared the worst, a serious injury, perhaps even a season-ending setback. But within hours of his retirement, social media divided into two camps: those who defended his effort and those who questioned his endurance. Some critics even accused him of giving up when the match turned against him. Then, one of the most respected figures in modern tennis came forward to defend him. Mouratoglou, former coach of Serena Williams, Simona Halep, and Stefanos Tsitsipas. In an interview with Eurosport, the French-Greek coach made it clear that what Sinner experienced was a physical collapse caused by extreme humidity, not weakness or lack of character. What Sinner had to endure was brutal, Mouratoglou said firmly. People underestimate how dangerous humidity can be. Fritz suffered the same issue, and we saw Novak Djokovic vomit twice on court. It's not about mental strength, it's pure survival. His defense hit home for players across the circuit who had been privately voicing similar frustrations. The Shanghai Masters, played in near 80% humidity, pushed athletes to their limits. Many were left questioning why the ATP still lacks a standardized heat and humidity rule like the Grand Slams have under the ITF. The criticism wasn't just about the heat, it was about fairness. Matches were being scheduled at times of day when the air was almost unbreathable. Even the fans in the stands were struggling, with reports of several minor heat-related incidents among spectators. Sinner, known for his composure and professionalism, didn't respond directly to the critics. Instead, he quietly focused on recovery, proving once again why he's one of the most respected young players on tour. After a few days of complete rest, he announced his decision to restructure his physical team and add Alejandro Resnikov, a move widely seen as proof of his determination to come back stronger. Resnikov's first mission: rebuild Sinner's endurance base in time for Riyadh. His methods, described as scientifically calibrated, involve oxygen chamber sessions, electrolyte-specific nutrition, and a deep monitoring of body temperature and recovery rates. For a player whose season has been packed with emotional highs, from his Roland Garros run to multiple finals, this adjustment could be the key to long-term stability. But while the Italian was quietly healing, the tennis world was buzzing. Analysts started comparing this generation's rivalry, Sinner versus Alcaraz, to the classic Federer, Nadal, Djokovic triangle. And yet, not everyone agreed with the comparison. Former Polish player Jerzy Janowicz, now an analyst, sparked debate by saying modern tennis had lost some of its magic since the Big Three era faded. The game today is more uniform, Janowicz claimed. Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic were different universes colliding, each with a unique style. Sinner and Alcaraz are incredibly strong, but sometimes it feels like they play the same game, just at different speeds. His comments triggered an online storm. Many fans argued that Alcaraz's creativity and explosiveness set him apart, while Sinner's cold precision and discipline offered the perfect contrast, a dynamic balance that kept modern tennis alive. Even so, the debate revealed something deeper: the longing for new legends. For years, the Big Three defined excellence and identity in tennis. Now Sinner and Alcaraz carry that torch, not as imitators, but as pioneers of a new era shaped by athleticism, power, and mental sharpness. Back in Monaco, Sinner trained in silence. His focus wasn't on media debates or rivalries. It was on rebuilding. Videos from his practice sessions showed him moving fluidly, hitting cleanly, and laughing with his team, a good sign after the scare in Shanghai. His physiotherapist confirmed that he had fully recovered from the cramps and was now in excellent condition for the Six Kings Slam in Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, Carlos Alcaraz was also back on court after skipping Shanghai to recover from his own ankle injury. The two prodigies, separated by only a few months in age, continue to mirror each other's paths: triumph, struggle, and reinvention. Their duel is far from over. If Sinner defeats Tsitsipas and Djokovic on his side of the bracket, and Alcaraz overcomes his semi-final opponent, they will meet again, this time under the desert lights of Riyadh. The ATP might call it an exhibition, but everyone knows what it really is: a statement of power, a preview of the battles to come. Even Novak Djokovic, who will also compete in Riyadh, acknowledged the importance of the new rivalry. Speaking before his semi-final loss in Shanghai, the 38-year-old admitted that the sport is evolving fast, and that both Alcaraz and Sinner represent a level of professionalism and intensity that reminds me of my younger self. The veteran knows that every new face carries the shadow of legacy, and that the energy of youth can't be ignored forever. As for Sinner, his silence says more than any press conference could. After the physical collapse, he's rebuilt his confidence from the ground up. He's not chasing headlines. He's chasing strength. Riyadh will be his first true test after Shanghai, not just a chance to redeem his body, but to reassert his place as the man closest to dethroning Carlos Alcaraz. And this time, he'll be ready for whatever the desert brings. Tennis, don't miss the next video. We'll follow Sinner's recovery, his return in Riyadh, and his next face-off with Carlos Alcaraz under the Saudi lights. Backhand Index Pointing Rights. Subscribe now to World News Tennis, where the stories behind the scorelines come to life. The echoes of the Shanghai Masters still lingered when the next wave of headlines hit. Novak Djokovic, visibly drained after his semi-final defeat to Valentin Vacherot, ended his press conference with just one short, cold phrase. "No. Next question, please." It was the only answer he gave when asked about his physical condition, and it left everyone wondering how much longer the 24-time Grand Slam champion could endure this relentless pace. For once, Djokovic looked human. The loss to Vacherot, the lowest-ranked player ever to reach a Masters 1000 final, symbolized something greater: the changing of the guard. Under the sweltering humidity of Shanghai, the old order began to bend. Vacherot's composure and fearless style reminded many of a young Alcaraz, and his victory wasn't just an upset, it was a signal that the sport's balance of power was shifting. Yet amid that transformation, Jannik Sinner's withdrawal and Carlos Alcaraz's absence defined the tournament's narrative. The two young titans weren't even there to fight, and still, their names dominated every conversation. The ATP world, increasingly polarized between these two forces, finds itself trapped in a familiar paradox. It craves competition but can't look away from dominance. The truth is, when Alcaraz and Sinner aren't on court, the energy changes. The crowds, the broadcasters, even the sponsors feel the difference. It's no wonder insiders are whispering that the ATP is becoming tired of a two-man race at the top. But as one era fades and another emerges, it's clear that the sport needs both, Alcaraz's fire and Sinner's precision, to sustain its heartbeat. Back in Europe, while Djokovic took a few quiet days off before Riyadh, Sinner made his own headlines. Just 1 week after collapsing in Shanghai, he returned to light training under the watch of his new physiotherapist, Alejandro Resnikov. The Argentine specialist, who has worked with ATP players for over a decade, joined Sinner's team with a clear mission: build durability, not just strength. "We're focusing on long-term efficiency," Resnikov said in a statement. "Jannik's body is elite, but the goal is to make it sustainable for 10 years, not 10 matches." His addition to the team wasn't merely medical, it was psychological. For Sinner, Shanghai had been a humbling moment. The image of him leaning on his racket, barely able to walk, haunted every highlight reel. But if history has proven anything, it's that great champions are not defined by their victories but by how they rise after falling. Meanwhile, Alcaraz's recovery from his ankle sprain was also nearing completion. Videos from Murcia showed him training with full intensity, his footwork sharp, his confidence undiminished. His coach, Juan Carlos Ferrero, confirmed that the Spaniard was 100% ready for Riyadh, emphasizing that the withdrawal from Shanghai had been a strategic decision rather than a setback. "Carlos could have played," Ferrero admitted. "But we didn't want to risk the ankle. The priority is longevity. We're thinking of Paris, Turin, and the Davis Cup, not just one tournament." That level of foresight shows why Ferrero is considered one of the most intelligent coaches in the game. He understands that for Alcaraz, who is already chasing historic milestones, one miscalculation could jeopardize years of dominance. The countdown to the Six Kings Slam has now begun. The event in Riyadh, half competition, half spectacle, will gather the sport's 6 most influential active players: Djokovic, Alcaraz, Sinner, Tsitsipas, Zverev, and Fritz. More than a show, it's become a symbol of modern tennis new geography, with Saudi Arabia using it to cement its growing presence in world sports. Behind the glamour, though, the tension is real. For Alcaraz, it's a chance to remind everyone who the true number one is. For Sinner, it's redemption, an opportunity to erase the memory of Shanghai and reassert himself as Alcaraz's equal. Mouratoglou's recent words now ring like a prophecy. This new generation is special because they're not waiting for permission to lead. They're already shaping the sport. That leadership is being forged under the harshest spotlight, with injuries, media pressure, and the constant comparison to the legends who came before them. The Federer-Nadal-Djokovic era may have ended, but its shadow still looms large. Every match between Alcaraz and Sinner is measured against those mythical battles of the past. In a recent interview, Sinner was asked about that comparison. His response was simple, but it carried the weight of maturity beyond his years. "We're not trying to be them. We're trying to be us." That phrase, repeated across tennis media, captured the essence of the new generation, respectful of history but unafraid to write its own. Meanwhile, Djokovic, the bridge between eras, remains the constant presence. Even as younger players rise, his aura continues to shape the sport. His short, defiant press conference after the Shanghai loss may have seemed like frustration, but to many, it was the posture of a warrior who refuses to surrender. "He's not done yet," former ATP player Marcos Baghdatis said. "He's angry because he still cares. That's what separates him from everyone else." The next few weeks will test every one of these men. Shanghai left scars, physical for some, emotional for others, but also clarity. The ATP's future is no longer a question. It's a reality taking shape in real time. Alcaraz, Sinner, and Djokovic forming the trinity of a sport in transition. Riyadh will be the next stage of that transformation. The heat, the pressure, the prize money, all of it will push them to their limits again. But this time, the world will be watching not just for who wins, but for what it means. Because in the silence between points, under the floodlights of the desert, tennis is rewriting its own destiny. Stay tuned. The story is just beginning. The Six Kings Slam is next, and we'll cover every serve, every injury update, and every moment of brilliance right here on World News Tennis. Backhand index pointing right, subscribe, turn on the bell, and don't miss what could be the birth of a new era in tennis.